Joining us now is political analyst, Professor of Global Futures at Curtin University, Joe Siracusa. Joe, let's start off with this trade war that's intensifying. Trade war and Trump, three words that tend to go together. It has been effective for him in the past. Where do you see this ending, though? Because you've got Canada and Mexico now that are going to put the tariffs on the tariffs, and then Trump's going to put tariffs on those tariffs, which is a trade war. So where does this end?
Well, like all trade wars, Pete, this is going to have a very sad ending. It's going to be going to result in higher prices both for Canadians and Americans. And Trump is going to war with two of his best neighbors. There are 40 million Canadians who live within 100 miles of the American border, and there are 128 Mexicans who are going to be very angry too. And of course, this is all tied to stemming the flow of undocumented immigrants and fentanyl. I mean, fentanyl, of course, is a law and order issue in the United States. So blaming these people for this, it's like the Prohibition. We used to blame Canadian whiskey for American drunkenness in the 1920s or 1930s during the Prohibition era. So it's the president has taken a shot in the dark here. He's trying to live up to his pledges, but I think they're going to fall well short, and there are going to be repercussions. I mean, Pete, 80% of frozen French fries come from Canada, not to mention oil and gas. And, when Americans start paying $100 for an oil change, they're going to get very angry.
So presumably, though, he knew that there would be a response. I'm talking about Trump here. He knew that there would be a response, and so I'm presuming that he thinks he can withstand it.
Well, the only way the president can get away with this is if Mexico and Canada cave very quickly.
Well, like the Colombians.
And the Colombians, right. And he knows that he can't get away with this for too long because these trade wars. And look, tariffs only work if everybody's involved, including Australians and Chinese and, Bulgarians. I mean, it doesn't work otherwise it's just beggar and thy neighbor, that kind of thing. So look, the president, he knows better. The people around him know better. They're just trying to sort of cash in on the short term. Now, the Colombians gave them the impression that if you push hard, you'll cave in. But I don't think it's going to work with the Canadians, who are, frankly, a lot tougher than the Colombians.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's more at stake. So what's the fine print here, do you think, Joe? I mean, you kind of, I think you alluded to this, but is it to get China through Mexico and Canada?
Well, it's to get all of them. He's very angry with the Canadians because he assumes that they're letting people through the undocumented immigrants and the fentanyl. Pete, there's a 5,000-mile undefended border with Canada. If things got bad, the black markets would be all over the place. People would be coming across the line. He's trying to get to the fentanyl problem. In fact, in the last couple of years, 17% fewer Americans have died of fentanyl. 100,000 are dying every year.
That's
and to
terrible,
blame the people on the border, to blame the people on the border for an American law and order issue, it's a bit of a stretch. Now, I think it's a shot in the dark. He's trying to solve a problem here, but it isn't going to be long here before he's going to have more problems.
I wonder, though, we've got to wrap up here, but I wonder when it comes to Australia, I mean, they make more than us, America makes more than us when it comes to trade between our two nations, and Malcolm Turnbull successfully argued this the last time this one came about. Can the same be done this time around?
Yeah, I think Australia can bypass the problems here. America regards Australia as a wonderful friend and a place for put American troops and Marines and B-52s and or B-2s and that kind of thing. So I thought, but on the other hand, Australia might involve itself in a third-party issue. For example, if it takes things to Mexico or Canada and tries to transship them, then they'll be in violation of American law. So Australia will have to navigate this, but Australia does a pretty good job at this because they've seen this movie before, Pete.
Yeah, they have. Joe, good to chat as always. Talk to you again soon.